Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our long-awaited Kingdom Come Deliverance II Spoilercast. It's finally happened. You guys wouldn't shut up about it, but we're here to deliver. Everyone here has finally finished it. It's a big game, chat. Give us a break, all right? Or listeners, I should say. Give us a break, all right? But we got it done. We're here, and we're all very excited to talk about it. I am your host, Brad Ellis. Joining me first, we're going to start out with my partner in crime on Punching Up, Mrs. Micah Moriarty. Micah, how are you today?
I'm doing so well, Brad. Very excited to be here. We've got a stellar cast here to go over this game. And yeah, I am the lunatic who beat this game on March 2nd. I went back and checked. Yeah, you know what? That's all me, man. Like, that's nobody else was slow for not beating it that quickly. Right. I was just a maniac. And absolutely loved every second. I kept telling Colin, like, we'd be in, like, going to sleep, and I'd be like, what do you think Henry's doing right now? You know, I wanted to just wake up and go be Henry, and I would be like, I wonder what he's up to. So that's what this game did to me.
Micah, I can relate. We're going to get into all that, but I can relate. Also, joining us, Xbox ambassador right here, or Duke, whatever you want to say. Mr. Lord Cognito. Cog, it's good to see you, man. It's been a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. I've been busy. What's the phrase? Ordentes fortuna juvat.
Yeah.
Fortune favors the brave.
That's right.
The brave souls that waited for me to finally get this game done. But it was a task for me with all the stuff that's going on, and obviously the game releases and stuff like that. So I appreciate the patience from the realm, of LSM fam, and obviously I get Locke, I get Micah, so this is cool. And I've been really. Obviously, I'm really special because I know I've been charting Micah with her journey on Switch, which I thought was funny, and then Locke, which is really cool because I know how much this game means to him. So I would love to get his perspective on things. So I'm actually excited with this group. And obviously, Brad, you're the man, man. You break down games so well.
Oh, thank you.
Explain it. So it's going to be a fun show. I'm already excited.
All right. And our final guest joining us, the man who probably lives closest to where Henry would live. Or the closest that we have to Henry, Mr. Lockmort. Locke, how are you, mate?
That's true. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to talk about this game finally with people, because people have been messaging me about their findings with this game, but I've never talked. I've always refrained from talking about the game and the endings and stuff until we did this. So I'm very excited to finally get into it and talk about this game for the first time with people.
Cool. Awesome. So before we get into like all the nitty gritty and stuff like that, I just kind of want us all to give our general thoughts on the game. Now, I'm going to start just because I have the least experience in this universe compared to all three of you. I have not played the first game. I came into this game blind the second game because I knew if I didn't just play 2, it would never happen. I was like, there would always be something blocking me. I just got to do it. And I'm very happy I did. And I already feel a strong connection to all these characters I met along the way. I couldn't imagine what it's like for you guys going into 2 and just like already having all these strong bonds with everyone like Hans and stuff like that. It's like, I didn't even know who Hans was really or anything like that, but he's still my boy now at the end. All those guys are still my boy. The drunk devil is like one of my favorites, dude. He's so fucking stupid and I love him. He's great though. But I was thoroughly impressed with this game. The RPG systems, the stuff you could pull off. The combat was very fun as well. The story really had a good pace and rarely ever hit like bumps where I just kind of felt like almost like a filler arc or anything like that. It just kind of kept moving and frequently surprised me. And this game gave me some hard choices. And it wasn't easy choices like black or white kind of like sort of thing, like good and evil, easy to tell. No, I had no idea to pick at a lot of these things. And I was like, well, I guess I kind of like this guy, so I guess I'll go with them. And sometimes it paid off and sometimes it didn't. But I really loved the writing in this game. I thought it was excellent. It was so good. Henry was an awesome character. Even though you are Henry has so much to him. And I was, like Micah was saying, I wonder what Henry's up to. Just thinking about that lad. wandering around, killing some peasants or something like that. All that good stuff. And just impressed with the beauty of the world. Gorgeous world. So wonderful. Loved strolling through on my horse. Fantastic. Awesome game. One of the best RPGs I've played in a very long time. Like, to me, this is like a Witcher 3 caliber kind of game. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll get that growth or that level of mainstream that The Witcher will. I think it's maybe a little too hardcore, maybe, or something, or maybe just the setting is not as appealing to most people. But this is an excellent video game. I have a couple problems with it we'll get into later on, but I think this is one of the best RPGs I've played in a long time and easily one of my tops for game of the year. So I was very happy with it. All right. Micah, you also came into the series a little bit later, but you played through the first game recently, or pretty recently, on the stinky Switch. You made it through there. Micah can stand anything. Nothing can stop her when she wants to play a game. But now she played on a G Cloud, right? That's where you played on the Xbox version on a G Cloud.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah. Because I did. I played the first game in January, burned through that 48 hours really quickly, and then said, okay, I'll got to pre-order the second game before it comes out. I did play the whole thing on Switch, which was a terrible decision, but it's what made me say I need an Xbox handheld so I can play the second one. There's no way I'm waiting 5 years for them to put this on Switch 2. And that's when I asked Maddie, like, what the hell should I buy? He didn't steer me wrong, got the G Cloud. It's fantastic. And yeah, that's how I played most of this game. I did use the TV at times, when Colin's like recording Sacred for 4 straight hours. That's excellent TV time for me. But yeah, this in general, what I came away from with KCD 2 is it's an excellent showcase of writing styles. The humor in this game took me by surprise every single time. There were moments I really was laughing out loud, like I can't believe, and without it feeling cheesy, without it feeling overdone, they really did just pepper in this great little cast of characters who some of them are really funny. And of course you have like heartfelt moments. You have just like, all the themes of like vengeance and mercy, and it's just exceptionally well done. You have some really interesting side quests that I fell in love with, these random characters you find out in the woods and decide to help them. But what sticks with me the most is just the range of the writing styles here, because I couldn't believe how funny some moments were and then how incredibly sad other moments were. And the whole experience really meshed together. It didn't feel disjointed. It didn't feel out of place. I've definitely played games where Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is actually a great example. They had a moment in the second game that I was like on the verge of tears. It was so sad. And then they literally throw in a joke. And I was like, what the hell are you doing? It was just bad. This game isn't doing that to you. This game really does have just like such a great flow between the different tones that they paint for you. And that's just my number one thing was, wow, this was such a great, showcase of the writing styles these people had. And they nailed all of it.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right, Cog, I know you've been a long time fan of the series. Big time. How's it feel, man? Now that you've completed it recently, how are you feeling about it?
Man, I'm just so proud. Again, I had this conversation with Laka. When I watched Warhorse, and I seen them very early, and it was Kickstarter, I believe.
Yep.
And I'm like, it was kind of like, the pitch was kind of like, realistic Skyrim in a way, right? On a hardcore level. And I remember, I'm like, all right, you guys are passionate. And I like going to conventions and like PAX East, and I would see these guys. And I'm like, man, I think you guys got something. I think you guys there's nothing like this game in a way. And the thing for me, now that I've, done KCD 1 and now KCD 2, and you see the growth of the Henry character, where he's at, the thing I want to shout out, 2 things. One, the Crytek engine is masterful to me. like I am coming from a world of UE5 and Unity, and I'm like, how are they doing this? Because generally when you have games that look this good and you have all these AI routines where NPCs get up every day, they have a job, they do things, and it's everything feels lived in. and it's just so cool. And this is a world, like, you feel the world, like you're like, oh yeah, that's the manure. I feel like I can smell that manure from the horse right there. Like it's such a beautiful world, the countryside, the vastness and stuff like that. And then, like Micah said, you really have these moments with the quest that you could tell the writers are having a phenomenal time, right? They are either laughing, you can tell when silly music happens and some funniness is about to happen. But then there's, like I said, there's really heartfelt moments, and you see the development. As a person who played part one, there was some really cool payoff moments for the Henry character that I thought were really well done. As far as how I played it, I actually played this game almost 100% on the ROG Ally X. So I was like portable, and then it's the first time, because I had all my save data, and unfortunately KCD does not have like a cross progression, like Baldur's Gate sort of fact, so I could go between multiple platforms. So I was like, look, I am not starting this all over just to do this on Xbox. This is going to stay on Steam. I am going to rock here, and I figured out docking it to my TV. But yeah, this experience was fantastic. I will say, like, last thing I'll say that's really impressive to me is I love that this game does group conversations with multiple characters and big moments, huge set pieces, and you go, wow, this truly feels like war. This truly feels like, motion capture, everything. I could go on and on, Blovier, how great this game looks, plays, but it's a great story and some of the best systems that are really addicting. That gossip, as far as what you said, Brad, as far as hardcore RPG elements, like I get a perk point. Okay, what I get to do if I put this? Okay, I'm stronger at night. Okay, like, and then you start build crafting and getting into your play style, and that's the loop for me. And the final thing I would say is I knew I was addicted because I was like, bro, I'm playing like 80 hours. I ain't got the Gutenberg yet. I was like, I got to hurry up and get this game going. You can be lost in this game. It is that addicting. I got a ton more to say, but yeah, well, fantastic job. Fantastic. Well, I know we'll get into it.
Yeah. All right, Lockmort, the man himself. I got a lot of write-ins from all three of you, or about all three of you. People very happy you guys selling them on the game, getting them into the game. So job well done there. Lockmort, talk to me. This was your most anticipated game for a long time. You were freaking out with COG. Let's hear it.
Well, there are 4 games that make me feel something special, like in my life. That's The Witcher 3, that's Red Dead Redemption 2, that is Baldur's Gate 3, Baldur's Gate 2, and now this one, now Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think what this game does is impeccable and something only those 4 other games ever done to me. Anyway, I don't know if that's the case for everyone. It's the perfect movie. It's the perfect game. It's the perfect music, the perfect engine to do it on. The characters are amazing. I've never encountered friends in a game like, well, maybe that goes a little bit too far, but like you feel like they're your friends in this game.
Right.
It's the same feeling you get from playing Red Dead Redemption 2, with the crew there, and when they drop off one by one, you feel sad or you get betrayed or whatever. It's so endearing. It's so well written. Like all three of you guys have said, the writing in this game is impeccable. I don't know how they did it, because the writing in the first game was good, was decent, but the story was pretty simple. The characters were pretty simple. But here, every character has like multiple layers to them. They have their own personalities. You know exactly, after a while, after like 100 hours in the game, you know what they're going to say. You know what they're like. You know what they do, which is such a great feature. Also, what I really enjoyed about this game was that the characters all have distinct faces. That's such a weird thing to say, I guess, but in a lot of games, you can see, oh, these were made in the same character creator I used. But here, every character looks distinct. They have their own accent. They have their own voice. You can, if you see a picture of the Dry Devil, you know immediately who it is, or Kubienka, or anyone, Hans. You know exactly who they are, what their names are, too. Because the names in this game are pretty difficult. They're like Eastern European names. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them. But you remember them, because they're distinct characters. So I think what this game did was impeccable. I have a couple of problems with it, too. It's not a perfect game, but it ranks up there for me. It's definitely in my top 10 of all time, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I guess let's just kind of get into that. Let's get into some of like our qualms with the game. I'd say nothing like dramatically huge where we're like fuck this shit or anything like that. Just a couple of annoyances. Micah, I've talked to you about this, and this is totally a technical thing, is you and I would get caught on stairs fairly often, trying to go upstairs or something like that. We just like couldn't move. I also think, I have no context for the first game. I think the combat is good, but I think they need to figure out a way to still take on more than one enemy at a time in a little more elegant way. From what I understand, it's much more, way better compared to the first game, but I think I just need a little more, it needs to be a little more fluid, I guess, switching between targets or how they're going to handle that for me in the future.
Sure.
But it wasn't like a huge deal where I was like, this is unplayable, I can't do this kind of thing. I just kind of had to play by the game's rules and adjust to it, which is fine. But that's just something I selfishly kind of wanted from it. But other than that, I guess it's like a minor nitpick, as there is a lot of the same voice acting from people throughout the game. Like you hear a lot of the same voices throughout a lot of the game. Like I hear Dry Devil's voice quite frequently in some of the quests. There was one quest in particular, like the Mouth of Hell or something like that, where the guy there, he is just like the Dry Devil's voice. It's just like, you're not the Dry Devil. But it's okay. It's totally like a budget thing. It's not a huge deal. It's not like we have Todd Howard in like those old games speaking up. Or maybe we do have some of the devs doing that. I have no idea. But for the most part, they're very nitpicks in that sense. And just like the kind of the power level as you go through the game, I feel like near the last like 15, 20 hours, I was not getting anything new powerful stuff, just because all my stuff was so powerful already. And I was like, man, I'm kind of missing that chase, that high of getting a new sick loot piece of gear. But it didn't happen so much, but I don't know. That was like after a long time in the game, so not a huge deal. Micah, let's hear from you. What do you got? Any complaints?
One major complaint just comes from when you get to the Kuttenberg region, most of the side quests are stealth. And it makes sense because you do need to level up your stealth skills. Like it helps you, kind of just forces you to do that. But I remember thinking this gets a little dull because the Trotsky region had so much more variety in the side quests and tasks. And then you get to Kuttenberg and it really feels like half of the things to do have some sort of stealth or like thieving element. And I remember just being like, I hate stealth in general in games. Now I got like decent at it in this game, but like I'm not ever going to play Hitman or anything like stealthy like that. I just don't like it. And I remember starting to feel a little burnt out, specifically in Kuttenberg, when I was like, there is so like half of these missions you start it and they're like, I need you to go steal something for me. And it's like, and then of course like the actual Thieves Guild, and that's the whole point. But I remember just feeling like I wish there was a little more variety here, but it was very useful later on in the story because it kind of forced me to level those skills up. And the other thing too, Brad, like you mentioned, getting stuck on invisible objects during the quest, The Storm, when you are like out in the forest and you have to make it, to that like wagon that's going to help you guys escape.
Oh yeah.
I was getting stuck on nothing. And what was happening was like I turned the brightness all the way up because I said I'm getting stuck on something when I'm walking and I was getting caught. And I turned the brightness all the way up so I could see. And there was nothing on the ground. And I would be like, I would let the guard walk by. I would try to go behind him before the next guard showed up and I'd get stuck on something. And then it would mess up the timing and I'd get caught. And that was just such a headache. Of course, we had the save and quit feature, thank God. And I literally was just saving every like 20 steps. But I truly am just like, that was a major frustration point of this mission required such like delicate stealth, but the game was not really up to snuff for it. Like just honestly, the mechanics weren't there for how perfect you had to play this if you actually wanted to do a run all the way from start to finish without doing a save and quit like I did shamelessly. So that was the main gripe I had, is when it did require you to be like ultra stealthy, I didn't always feel like the game mechanics were up to par to actually let you do that.
Sure. What about you, Cog? Anything that stands out in your mind?
Yeah, I think for me, like KCD has this way of forcing you to do things that you don't want to do sometimes. And it's like, for me, the things that always cringe me is when it's like, okay, it's horseback riding or lockpicking. And lockpicking on controller is brutal.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Damn.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. So I mean, at least I'm playing on PC, and I'm just like, all right, you get in there, and then there's missions where they're a part of like side quest steps to actually do that, to complete the quest. And I think sometimes the game, the way objects are in the world, everything looks so like part of the background that you don't realize sometimes these things are interactable and identifiable. So I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I'm kind of looking, and sometimes your cursor has to be pinpoint on an object for it to recognize that that's an object and it's something to complete a quest step. Because it just looks like, oh, that could be a regular apple or a regular, piece of paper. So I would say that. My other thing is I love the fact that they added switching the uniforms, right? Because one thing I had like my main, battle outfit, and then I'll have my noble, outfit. I got my attire, so my charisma is extra high in that, and then I have like my thief set. But what would happen is sometimes I'm doing a mission and I'm like in the noble outfit, and the next step is like fight. And I'm like, no, like I can't, I don't get armor, and like you get caught out there. So I would say those are kind of my things, and I think that's on occasion. Even though I love the big epic battles, sometimes like the targeting, like you were saying, like sometimes it gets a little clunky sometimes with a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, those are kind of like my major issues. But I would say, I sucked at horseback riding. I lost like every race. Like I didn't invest in that skill at all. I tried to drink a potion. I tried to do the quick start. That was probably like the weakest part of the thing because I just couldn't control it as well. And I think I stuck with pebbles for like the longest. But I didn't even upgrade my horse or whatever. But those are like my nitpicks with certain things.
Yeah. Shout out Pebbles.
Cog, real quick. In the first game, there was a horseback race that I couldn't win. And so I Googled it and someone was like, just kill all the other horses before the race starts. And I did that because I was like, I need to win this mission. I can't do it. I tried over and over and I finally did that. I just killed them all.
It was a side quest with the Vivault. I forgot the name. It's like a different ethnicity of people that live in a camp in the lower region, I think Trotsky, whatever. And like this quest was really good. It was lengthy. And I was like, okay. And one of it was like, you got to beat the sun in a race. And you got 3 steps to impress. And so the first one I think I did, but I kept losing. I kept restarting. I was like, yo. But luckily, the third step, I think, ended up being like a dice game. And I ended up being really good at dice. And I will say this, even with my struggles, sometimes it forced me to get better at something, and I ended up liking it. But Casey has a way of trying to make you do something that you hate doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Locke? Any complaints?
Yeah, well, my complaints are mostly my fault too, I want to say, because of course I played the first game a couple of times. I loved the first game, so I knew how much stealth and lockpicking was important. So when I started Kingdom Come Deliverance II, those were the skills I leveled up first. My lockpicking and my stealth. I just did everything that way. So about midway through the game, no, even before midway, even before we get to the Gutenberg map, I was pretty much maxed out in stealth and in lockpicking. My lockpicking wasn't maxed out, but it was so high that I could just break into everywhere, get the best armor, get the best weapons. And after that point, the combat became like a cakewalk to me. Like I could kill everything. I never died again. I only died in like the first 20 hours of the game. So I remember in the first one, the progression felt more meaningful. Here, I didn't have that feeling. You got that armor from the DLC. Did all of you get the DLC, like the pre-order DLC armor?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you hunt that treasure down. I used that armor in the entire Trotsky region for the entire time. And then when I got to Gutenberg, the first thing I did was wait for nightfall. I broke into one of the armor stores, got the best armor, and that was my armor for the rest of the game. So that was very easy. Once you get your sword back, your Radzik sword back, I just kept using that sword, and I leveled up my warfare skill too, so I could use the sword with a shield, and I was basically invincible. So that's I guess that's my fault, but the game also should like account for people to do that, I think. Because I loved the first game so much, I knew exactly, or I thought I knew what they were going to do. So I played into it. So it became much easier for me. But like you said, if you didn't level up your lockpicking, I don't know. This game must be hell, I think. It must be so difficult. Because lockpicking for me at the end, I didn't even have to lockpick anymore, at least the easy locks. I could just open it. It just went automatically. There was no more minigame. So that's a little bit of a nitpick. The other one, Brad, that you mentioned, like the voices, I didn't notice that at all, really. That like multiple characters had the same voice. I didn't notice that. That's
it's
cool.
usually just like kind of nameless NPCs or stuff like that, or or less important characters.
Oh, okay, like peasants
it's not
and
like
stuff.
the big main characters all have the same voice.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood. Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And then another thing I had kind of an issue with was the second map, which is so big, but with a lot of empty space, which look beautiful. And the first time you get there, it's amazing because everything, you have like fields everywhere, like forests in the distance, and it's so big and so huge. But to get from point A to point B, if you don't want to fast travel, which I try not to do in games, sometimes that took like 20 minutes to get from one point to the other.
Oh yeah.
So
why are you doing that?
Well, they released hardcore mode yesterday, right? And I really want to play it right now with hardcore mode because hardcore mode disables the fast travel, and it also disables that you can see where you are on the map. So you have to remember where you are, and so it becomes easier the second time around. So even though it's really cool that it looked beautiful, after like 80, 90 hours, it was like, okay, come on, just let me get there now. But that's not really the game's fault. That's more my play style, I guess. So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay, cool.
Oh, one more thing. Too many sieges. There were a couple throughout the game. They all played out the same way, push the ladders, fight a couple of people with like close quarters. When the last one happened, I was like, okay, I get it now. Okay, come on then. But then the game ended, so.
We're going to answer this question from Anthony right here. He kind of pitched the question to us that we answered, but let's see what he does not like about the game. It's from Anthony Ragucci. Hey, Kutenberger Canucks. Different type of question. This game's absolutely one of the best games of this year. There is so much to love, but let's hear what you don't love. Me, I don't like how every church in the game is closed. You can't go in any, unlike the first game, where the few churches in the game were explored or explorable, and you were able to ogle at the art in them. I am curious what happened here. Maybe they ran out of time? Godspeed, and Jesus Christ be praised. Yeah, I mean, I did see a couple of churches, and I was like, oh, I wish I could go in there, because I had the same thought of being like, I want to see what art's in there, but I was like, oh, maybe it's just a way the game is. I didn't have the context of the first game like that. Were you guys kind of bummed out about that?
Well, there were so many buildings you could go into. So
yeah, there was.
I get what he's saying. I get what he's saying, though. It was weird to have so many churches, and they look so beautiful. And there was a huge part in the first game that took place in a church or in a monastery. So I figured there would be at least one. But yeah, no, he's right. That's kind of weird. I didn't even think about it until now, but he's right. That's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they definitely took the feedback, because I believe with the upcoming DLC, they're going to have it and have the interiors and stuff like that. And that's a huge part of that time period. So yeah, it was a strange choice not to have it. So yeah, I would admit that definitely surprised me, because some of these exteriors, they look really beautiful, and you want to see more of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, kind of sticking with that. Soulful Bison wrote in, hey buddies, what are some of the early game mechanics or moments you were surprised KCD2's attention to detail? Also, the forest and lighting in this game are unmatched. I haven't beaten this game yet, so I'll tune in whenever Henry gets around to it. So yes, I agree with Soulful Bison. Forests, lighting, the streams, you hear all the ambiance going, the animals, superb. Totally put me in the zone. Loved that kind of stuff. I guess just what was everyone's kind of favorite region or area you could remember from the game that you just loved?
Yeah, I especially just loved, like, the Trotsky region was my favorite because I had the most fun hanging out in the forests, like helping like the gamekeepers. Like, those were my favorite missions to do. And I loved being in the woods. Like, those were my favorite sections of the game. And I loved the blacksmith dude. He was so cool hanging out with him. Like, but that was my favorite section, because as fun as it was to explore Kutenberg, I was immediately overwhelmed. I remember spending like an hour walking around the city slowly, just trying to get all the icons to pop up, because I'm like, I need a bakery, I need a cobbler, and nobody at that point had posted like their own screenshots of the map. So I was like, I need to find a cobbler. And Kutenberg is so huge. I was just walking up and down every street trying to get the icons to unlock. Because I'll also say, I feel like the compass at the top of the screen was a little too small. Like in the first game, I could much more easily see each icon as I was approaching it. And in this game, it was like, I think that's the cobbler that I'm walking towards. But so Kutenberg was so overwhelming, and Trotsky, just by comparison, felt so cozy. That was my happy place to be in. Unfortunately, I also hit a bug, though, where I could not go back to Trotsky. I did most of the side content before I moved along to Kutenberg. However, at one point I wanted to go back, and when I took the cart that takes you there, it discarded several things from my inventory, including Sir Radzig's sword. And so I reloaded my save, and it gave me the sword back, and I was like, I'm just not going to try that again. So I never went back, even though I really just wanted to go ride around and see the scenery again.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
That's tough. Yeah, I think I think favorite parts. For me, I played a little different than you, Locke, in the sense that after a while, once you get to the other area, the bigger map, I was fast traveling a lot. So for me, I actually like the fast travel random encounter system because it'll have some of the most bizarre encounters. People just want to randomly play dice with you. Then you got the schemers. Hey, you notice, they set up a camp. They're looting the body. They don't see you yet. Do you want to stop early? And then you realize the importance of actually having mutt very early so that the detection gives you more of a shot. So I would say every bit of there was a guy that was doing, riddles and trivia with me one time. There was a dude who was shirtless and was like, this is my guy. He's the boxing champion.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to fight them. I'm like, what is this game? I was like, this game is wild. The fact, and then you'll have people who are very rare NPCs that'll have very distinct conversation or distinct loot, and you're like, wow, I need this person. I haven't seen this person again. This person had a lot of good gear. So I'll say first would be that, and then the second.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you run into the guy with the arrow in his head?
Yo, I did that whole quest. Yeah. And he thought it was a sacred arrow. And then you meet the crew. And then the other guy, the second in command, tries to shiest him. Yeah. And then he's like, now you have the arrow. Shoot me so I can have the power. I was like, you want me to shoot you? I'm going to kill you. Are you kidding me? That quest is hilarious. I did that whole quest. But my most favorable second thing is Murder Mystery Henry. I like when it be like, all right, look, we go check the body, all right, signs of an abrasion here. Looks like it's a struggle. I like when he gets into that whole bag of investigating a corpse and finding out what happened. So those were probably my favorite moments in KCD because based on your skill set, you can really pass some hard skill checks to uncover things and advance the story in cool ways.
Yeah. Lockmort. Let's talk about locations first from you.
Sure. My favorite location was the Devil's Den in the Kutenberg region because that's the place. That's basically your base of operations, and that's where all your guys basically gather. I love the crew that we have here. I love Ziska. I love Adder. Kubienka, of course. It's such a cool thing to have your own Inglorious Bastards here and to have them all gather in one place and have your own little base for a while. I thought that was amazing. My favorite region, I think it has to be. It's difficult because Micah, I love the intimacy of Trotsky. You can go anywhere very fast, and after a while, after spending enough time there, the region inside out there. Which is really cool. Also, those poacher quests you just mentioned, that's one of my favorite quests in the game, the last poacher quest you get. I don't know, have all of you completed those poacher quests?
I don't think I did them all, no.
Because the last one you do has the best moment, or one of the best moments in the games for me. That's when you have to find the ghost poacher, the boss poacher, basically. So you went around the map, look for all the poachers. You got rid of them. I never killed them, of course. I just paid them to go away or told them no. My Henry is a good Henry. You killed them?
I was a very bad Henry. I loved having people's lives in my hands.
But then you get to the last poacher, and he's south of the castle somewhere, and you find him underneath some cliff, and he's resting there. And you went through all these side quests for 50 hours, through all these quests, and you find the last poacher, and it turns out it's Hans. Which is such a cool moment, I think, because I wasn't expecting it at all. It's if one of the main characters is the bad guy here. It's the guy you've been looking for the entire time. So I thought that was really, really cool. So that's why I think Trotsky Kroski is a great location, but I love the openness of the Gutenberg one too. There's so much stuff you can do where so much stuff you can get up to. So yeah, I think both regions are amazing. I also think one of my favorite moments are just the cutscenes and the music. They're so emotive. Every cutscene with Hans where he's riding and the bravado, and it's so great. It's so beautiful. It really invokes like emotions, which not a lot of games can do.
Yeah, I want to jump in real quick, Locke, in terms of the music, because there's I like the music that's like at the weddings or at the bars. Right, and they always have these little jovial little flutes, that kind of energy. Like, there's one that I love. I'm gonna hit up the artist, because I'm like, bro, you don't have this on the soundtrack. Like, I literally record. I'm like, where is this song right here? I love this, and they always play it in a tavern. And it's the most funny, kind of silly, jovial, but it's like flutes going on. And yeah, the music is very understated, but very cool for the setting. And obviously the big set pieces, the war, and the evil villain comes in, you know what I'm saying? Here's this one, that kind of energy. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I want to read this from Alden Snow right here. Jesus Christ be praised. After 50 plus hours, I'm still in the first area. So I'll listen to this 2 months from now. I'll keep it simple. What's the first skill you leveled up fully? For me, it was Houndmaster. I reached level 30 in a few hours after finding Mutt. I was really spamming the pet and feed prompts to BH. Don't stay quite hungry. Don't stay quite hungry and tell Henry to come see us sometimes. All right, dude. What perks were we leveling up? Lockmore, you talked about this a little bit earlier. I learned very quickly that stealth and thievery were extremely important, because I got really sick of trying to get stuff, and they're like, nah, the door's locked. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to spend like an hour and a half just grinding this out, choking people out, stealing all their stuff. And it paid big time at points. I was just walking into everything, no problem. It was so sweet. Lockpicking was so easy for me. I was like, oh, thank God I made him. I started off wanting Henry to be a very good boy, be very nice, do the right thing, kind of like how Locks was. But then like some asshole would start a fight with me, or some poacher would try to kill me, and I'd defend myself. And the town would think I'm a bad boy now and try to arrest me. It's just self-defense. And I said, you know what? Fuck these people. I'm stealing everything. I had a big, dark turn in my playthrough. I was like, all right, I'm stealing everything. Fuck these guys. I'm killing people. And that's the way it went for me. So I was stealth and like lockpicking were definitely my first two up all the way. Micah, what'd you crank up first?
So I focused on scholarship first, because in the first game I realized that like the intimidation and like charisma skill checks were really hard to pass, but scholarship just required buying or stealing every book that you could and just taking the time to read them. So I focused on that first, and it really did pay off, because I was able to beat a lot of difficult skill checks later on when my like charisma and like intimidation were way too low, but my scholarship was so high that Henry could like talk his way out of things. So that was a huge advantage, and I was glad I did that. I did also focus heavily on the survival skills, which also paid off, because when I neglected alchemy, the survival is kind of more of like an herbologist type thing. So even though I didn't level up alchemy as quickly, I was still able to pass a lot of those skill checks, because the survivalist, Henry knew what to do. I should have focused more on stealth earlier on, and I kind of, in the first game, the lockpicking was simpler. And so I got the hang of it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can handle this. The pickpocketing was still difficult, but the lockpicking in the first game was more straightforward. They definitely made it more difficult in this one. Once I figured that out, I did try to level that up a bit more. I also, though, saw a hint online to just turn down the sensitivity on your analog sticks when you want to lockpick. So I did that. And it helped. It wasn't like instantly easy, but it did make it feel more like the first game, because they did something in this one where the locks that were labeled easy definitely were like medium from the first game. The medium ones were hard. Just adjusting the like sensitivity on the sticks definitely kind of brought it back down to the first game's level.
Nice. What about you, Cog? What'd you level up first?
I think for me the breaking point was because I think the skill curve is really difficult in the beginning. You know, obviously he hits his head, you lose everything, and then you square one. Where the game turned for me was alchemy, because I just said, you know what, I need these marigold potions. And then I was broke. So then I was flipping the potions. That once I got good at it, when you got that skill where when you make one, then it becomes 3 or multiple of them. And then I would sell those to the apothecary, whatever, and then get money back. And I was getting into this flow. And I'm like, all right, now I'm getting money. Now also with my fighting, you know, I'll get a little painkiller brew, make people it hurts less. And I really got into this whole bag of like doing potions and stuff. And then where it really turned for me was poisons. Once I made Bane poison, it was over for the enemy. Because I was like, okay, you want to act up? I got my crossbow. I'm going to hit you with a doll maker potion. I'm going to make you stand still. And then anybody that comes at me, I'm going to hit you with a Bane potion. I'm going to slowly watch you bleed to death while your stamina goes down. Oh, it was great. I was just evil. Then I was, oh, bro, poisoning in this game is the best. Or there'd be an enemy camp. It's too many of you. Okay, I'll sneak to the cooking pot. Pour the poison in. Fast forward the day. Watch all of them pass out the next day. Clean up the mission. I was like, oh, this is great. KCD allows you to get crazy with it. So number one was alchemy. I became I got something where I was like a dark alchemist. At night, my potions, the chances of them messing up is less. And the second skill that I would say, probably what was with Micah with scholarship. Like if you really invest, oh my God, you could really pass. Because I love the skill checks in this game, especially when you unlock the ability where you see the difficulty of said check. And you're like, okay, now I can make more informed decisions based on what skills I have and how my success will play. So I think that's when the game, those two really opened up for me.
Oh, and Cog, just to throw in as well, with the potions, I used them more in this game because they added the pouch system where you could use a potion during combat. You could not do that in the first game. You could only use them after combat or like before, you know, if you're approaching a group of enemies and your health's low, you like drink a marigold decoction or whatever. But in this game, you could actually equip one to your pouch during combat. And so I did get much more into alchemy this time around, although I was often lazy and would just buy it from the apothecary. I was rich. As soon as Brad told me you could sell horses that you stole, I was like, oh, hell yeah, dog. So I had a lot of money and I would just go buy most of my stuff. But that was a huge facet of them adding that to combat.
Yeah, that was a great thing about this game. It reminded me a lot of playing like a new From Software game when it comes out. People are just kind of talking to each other like, what did you do? How did you do this kind of thing? And Locke is the one that told me about selling horses. And I passed it on to Micah.
Yeah, I was like, what? You could sell the horses to the nomads? And as soon as I did it, I was like, holy fuck, that's a lot of clams. Like, all right.
I was out here flipping horses.
It was a lucrative deal for sure.
Well, that's what makes this game so cool, because I never in the entire game used poison. Never.
Yeah, neither did I.
Didn't even cross my mind to do that.
But I barely did any alchemy in the entire game. I don't think I crafted maybe one shaver schnapps and like one thing for a quest, and that was about it.
Bro, I lived in that alchemist room. It was crazy. I spent so much time. Oh my gosh, ridiculous. What you were saying, like I interrupted you, what you were saying?
Well, I did make savior schnapps a lot, so I could just save. So I made a lot of that. But what's also funny is the skill checks, because that's something I also wanted to invest in. But the way I did it was completely different than how you did it, Micah. Because I stole everything I could find and then wait 24 hours and then just did the entire map, all the traders, and just sold all the stuff back to them after a while. And just got money, and I haggled so that I would give them more money, and then my charisma would go up and they would be happy, and then my speech would go up too. So that's how I leveled up my speech and my scholarship and all those attributes for those skill checks. So it's cool that you can level it up in a different way as well, which is really interesting. Because I read a couple of books, but it annoyed me that you have to wait like 8 hours or 10 hours when you read them. So I was like, no, I'll do it myself, just like in real life. I think it's so cool that game allows for different approaches that all work.
And I like how gear takes that into consideration as well. You know, gear gives you certain stats and whatever like that. My stats were like, if I was intimidating to someone, usually I would pass that skill check. I was always walking around in like full plate armor the entire game. Even when I'm doing stealth, I'm clanking around. So I was able to intimidate a lot of people. It was very helpful.
But that's another game. The game explains this in the start. And I don't know if you remember this, but at the start, the game explains like, yes, you can intimidate people, but also watch who you do it with. Because that's not going to work with bandits, for example, but it is going to work with nobles or stuff. So it's really cool that you got that. You have like nobility, aggression, I think, and then like just your speech thing. I think those are the three options, right?
My speech was pretty high too already, so that was good.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Because so you always have to be careful who you're talking to too, which adds such a cool element to it, I think.
Yeah. Oh man, such good skill checks. I definitely remember getting skill checks where I didn't think I would get and being like, oh yes, but then you miss one, man, and it's brutal. You're just like, fuck.
I missed an entire portion of the game because I succeeded a skill check.
Oh, which part?
How do you want to handle this? Because it's a story.
No, yeah, just tell you. Well, we're spoilers, baby. You can say whatever you want, anytime you want.
Oh, okay. When you interrogate the prisoner, right? When you still think von Berghoff is on your side and he's a good guy, you interrogate the prisoner and he tells you that Samin is a traitor, right? So you think Samin is working for the bad guys. You have the option to not tell von Berghoff about it. And I did all the quests with the Samin family and their captain, and I thought they were great people. So I just didn't tell him about it. But then later on, after I finished the game, I found out that most people did tell him about it. And you get to raid Samin, and then you can either save them or not save them. But I didn't get that option at all. That just wasn't in my game.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy. Which is really cool.
Yeah, that's a big scene too. I remember that.
Yeah. I burnt that place to the ground.
You burnt it down?
I mean, I felt bad. I loved Gnarly, and I felt bad. Like, I was like, I have the weapon you gave me, bro, but like, I gotta do this. Okay, it's what must be done.
After the wedding, after the festivity, you drank the wine, you did all that.
Dude, his son was a traitor, all right? He was a bad egg.
Well, when you think about it, he was a traitor, but he's on your side, but you just don't know it at the time.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, like you find out later, oh, whoopsies. But at the time, he was going against the Lord of the land. I mean,
that's true.
So I was just like, all right, see you later. But I felt real bad because I was like, please just kill your son. And he's like, now.
Cool. Isn't that funny? Because basically the first entire half of the game, you're killing all your friends without really knowing it.
Yeah.
Like they attack you at the start, but that's like Zishka who is attacking your camp.
Yeah.
Which is really, really strange when you think about it. Yeah.
Let me see here. Sucking Duck for Quack wrote in. Howdy, summoning folks. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is one of the best RPGs I've ever played. The branching quest lines remind me of The Witcher 3 and Baldur's Gate 3. Which quests were your favorite, both main and side? For me, my favorite main quest is probably Necessary Evil, the one where you burn down Samin and find out the truth of Otto von Berghoff. My favorite side quest is probably The Mouth of Hell, where you investigate a mine and find a knight that's been guarding the place for several years. So happy the spoiler cast is happening. Jesus Christ be praised. Okay. Locke, let's start with you, man. What were your favorite main and side quests?
Sure. Well, to me, my favorite main quest was when you get captured by Istvan Toth. Because that's in the middle of the game, right? In Trotsky Castle. And I never thought I was going to be able to kill him there. Because he was like the main bad guy of the first game, so I figured, he'll escape. But then you get to actually do it, and in such a dramatic way too. Yeah. Of course, I picked a duel because my Henry was honorable, but then he falls out of the window, and it's so dramatic. I was like, holy shit, what's going to happen now? Like anything is open. Anyone can die here. Anything can happen. So I thought that was really a really smart and impressive choice to kill off the main bad guy in the middle of the game.
Payoff moment, yes.
And my favorite side quest, I have to agree with them who wrote in. It's also The Mouth of Hell to me, but I tackled it a little bit differently. Again, this is something I found out after I completed the game. But my Henry was just riding through the forest, and then he found a hole in the ground, and he went down into the hole, and then he fell into a mine and got chased by that serial killer. What's his name? Taras Mura or something, I think.
Yeah.
So I completely bungled into that quest. But normally you have to first talk to the townspeople and then they tell you that something's going on. But I had no idea what was going on. So I was in this mine being chased by some weirdo serial killer, and I had no idea why or what was going on. And then when I got out of the mine and the townspeople were standing outside and telling me what happened, I was like, oh, this is so cool. I never knew this could anything could happen in this game. But then afterwards, of course, I found out like, no, it's a quest you have to pick up. But
yeah,
it's so cool that stuff like that can happen. That's so dynamic, so cool.
Yeah, that is a good one.
And another one that probably my second favorite is the one in Gutenberg with the Germans, where you have to steal the Brotherhood sword from the other guild.
So that's like the tournament one, right?
Yeah, how the tournament basically starts. Yeah, because I thought those two were so endearing, and their German was so well done. I thought that was really really great. Great job.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then maybe one more is at the end when you find Volcan Brabant when he betrayed you and you find him again. That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That gave me a lot of satisfaction.
Killed him. I killed his ass.
Oh, he got to get it. He had to get it.
Yeah, Sam and all that stuff.
You know, what's funny, he's French in the game, but he's from my region where I live, because this used to be France, and his name, Brabant, is where I live. That's literally where I am right now.
Whoa, crazy.
So they... Yeah. Once again, never trust the French. Bad people, as you can see.
All right, Micah, what were some of your favorite main quests and side quests?
Yeah, so I loved the Italian job towards the end of the game. That one was I just enjoyed all the different facets to it. I did end up, though, I reloaded it at some point because there was an achievement that I wanted, and I was like, oh, I think it's like go through the whole thing without raising suspicion or something, and I realized like I was not making the right choices because I did not understand that you were supposed to keep Godwin kind of like liquored up, but not too liquored up. So at first I wasn't giving him enough to drink and he was forgetting how to speak Latin. And I was like, oh shit. And then I gave him way too much. I really enjoyed that one. It was fun doing like a heist, it was really cool. Just kind of really broke up the game. I also, where there is the names of these are hard. I think it's called like Via Argentum. It's the one where you go into like the silver mine. You realize that the like mint master is stealing the silver. Yeah. And you're trying to get to the bottom of who's in on it and everything. I get really freaked out by going into the mines. So it kind of turns the game into a little bit of like a horror element because it like the claustrophobia kicks in. It's really dark in there. So I actually enjoyed kind of how scary some of those sections were because I was like, despite the fact that I hate being in these sections, it just really makes the game, it gives it a whole new kind of feel. It's kind of like horror element, especially, the one you mentioned earlier where that dude, that like knight is down there. Like that was straight up survival horror. I hated every second. I loved it. But I hated every second of it. For side quests, I think it's called A Good Scrub is the one where there's this bathhouse woman, Betty in Gutenberg, and she has a goal to be like the best bathhouse in the city. Just the more that you learn about her, you realize like she was wronged by this dude, and like you really do just want to help her get back on her feet, get the bathhouse to be the best one in the city. And I did a lot of underhanded shit to help her out because she's kind of like, oh, can you dig up some dirt on this guy? And it's like, I'll do way more than that, Betty, believe me. And you get free baths out of it. So it was missions like that where it's like I genuinely wanted to help her. She was really likable. I just was like, fuck that other guy. And that's how I felt, Lockmore doing those like poacher side quests. I'm like, well, the gamekeeper said that this guy, he shouldn't have done it. This is the death penalty. And this guy's like, but my family. And I'm like, well, so I killed him, well, I turned him over to the bailiff. But and I did just really enjoy the choices. You guys mentioned earlier, these choices aren't all black and white. It is like, because for example, when it comes to showing mercy, it's like, well, am I the authority to show mercy here? I was tasked with finding this poacher and bringing him to the bailiff. It's really not my call what they do with him. And I also wanted to get paid more. But I really wrestled with some of these choices, like, burning down Samine or not. I like paused the game and sat and thought, like, what do I do? And I burned it down. And I, kind of the same with Malashov. Like, I sat and I thought, and then I burned it down. So, but these quests, man, I was stumped at times with these choices. Like I could take 10 more, but they were just so good. Like between the side quests, the tasks, like I will say one weird thing. There was a task where you were supposed to like, there's this blacksmith and his apprentice, and like you like kind of show up the apprentice by making a better knife than he can. And the blacksmith says, if you go to Kuttenberg, find this guy. But nothing ever actually happened. Like I met every blacksmith in Kuttenberg, and I never like triggered another thing. And I wasn't sure if that was supposed to happen or not, because I was really excited. Like, oh, sweet, we're gonna have like a blacksmithing contest. And then like I never got another one. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I don't know if that was a glitch or what, but I never did find the next lead for that when he was like, yeah, you know, there's another blacksmith you could go impress. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. It never happened.
God, what for you?
Man, there's so many. Oh, man. I mean, I think, yeah, I gotta agree with Micah. For me, it was a ultimate palate cleanse was the Italian job because, again, Father Goodwin is such a good character. But he's hilarious. But even leading up to the whole planning of the heist, right? Having Henry and the what they call it, the Devil's Pack,
Yes.
like trying to learn Italian and take the thing seriously at first, right? And you're saying these expressions to get you into this mode. Okay, we are going to be the Legatin, the crew that goes in, and then so you're doing as much as you can with Goodwin to buy the Team B time. So I'm like, okay, look, let me send the cook out. Let me taste the food. I got to keep myself drunk. I got to be drunk enough so that he's comfortable to talk Latin and Italian and so he doesn't mess up. But then you can't get too crazy because people will start to notice you're off. Something's wrong with you. So you got that balance going on. So I did so much. I sent the cook to come taste the food, and I brought the soldiers into that room to make it easier for Henry's group. So all that was really cool. And then obviously the classic scene, which is when you are with Team B with Henry, which is the your man Adder decides to go off script and have a moment with one of the female, one of the witches. I'm like, you really doing this on a siege mission, my guy? Like, what are we doing right now? But it was absolutely hilarious. So that was definitely a moment. And then obviously what Locke said, as far as the Ich Van Toth, this was a person who tormented you. You've been through so much in KCD1, and for that to happen at that point, and then the significance of getting the Radzik sword, like that is literally the box art to KCD1. That sword means so much to Henry. So I'm like, wow, they're doing this now? I'm like, this is early in the game. Like, where's this game going, right? I was with Locke on that. That's what really opened me up. Now, as far as the side quests, I forget the name, but it's in Kuttenberg. You start doing a lot of things, and then Catherine comes up to you and says, hey, her friend had died who was also like, working in the inns and stuff. And you investigate, and it becomes one of the most brutal whodunit mysteries when all these women killed in all these brutal fashion, and you find one survivor and she's scared, she's living out on the outskirts of town, and then you have to try to figure out who it is. And then when you do figure it out, it is an amazing scene with Catherine. First of all, Catherine has one of the most hilarious scenes prior to that to pin the thing on a young noble who was eventually the murderer, and she has this scene like, oh, you had a baby with me, and you don't want to. And I'm like, whoever did the motion capture for this was hilarious. They out here touching pizzles. They out here like she was full into this role. I was like, yo, this woman is an amazing actress. But then where it culminated was at the end when you realize it was a young noble who was definitely sowing his royal oats with a lot of these women, but the mother was the one who was having these ones killed, these lower class women killed. And it's a scene between Catherine and this woman, and you have to choose whether or not you will let this woman. And Catherine made a good point. I got to be honest, Micah. I was like, yeah, if we free her, she probably going to get away with it anyway. She ain't going to really get no real justice. And I let Catherine kill her. I let Catherine stab her up.
Street justice.
I had to do it for justice because I did. I actually, after I did it, I felt away, and I looked up. Okay, what would have been the other result? And I heard that like she gets sent off, but there are people who play KCD who try to look for her. You can't find this noble woman. So everybody's like, yeah, she probably got off anyway. It's good we let Catherine. And I guess this is a way, because I didn't romance Catherine, but this is a way. like if you do it, it just also helps your chances, I guess, to romance the character. So
It did all right.
Yeah, it sure did. It sure did.
Hey, little KCD after dark.
That quest also has the coolest title. I think that quest is called the Fifth Commandment, which is such a cool title.
I love that quest.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. And again, anything that involves me being, CSI murder mystery Henry. Like, I love it. I love getting the details, the clues, speaking to different people. Who's lying? Oh, that young nobleman, he was messing, he was flirting with all the women, but did he do it though? Like, it was good, man. It was well done. A great quest through and through.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another example of how there are multiple ways to get through the game. Because my scholarship was so high, I convinced the mom to let me examine her husband who was ill. So that got me into the house, because at first I tried to do it stealthily and just break into the son's room. And she kept walking in. So then I said, let's try another approach. And instead I was like, oh, I want to look at your husband. I'm a doctor. And when you do that, she goes downstairs. And then you slink away in the son's room to investigate. But I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't very good at the stealth aspect, but my Henry was an egghead wearing glasses, and everybody bought it. Everyone was like, dude, he's a doctor. Okay, sure.
With the spectacles, I know that look.
I put the spectacles on, the nobleman's little flippy cape thing on the head. Yeah.
Oh, the one that go to the side. Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
That was the one I ended up deciding on. At first, I used to have the feather cap, but then I did. Once you got the nobleman with the thing to the side, you look like the Chamberlain.
Mm-hmm. That's right. For me, some of my favorite moments, I guess, were we talked about this a little bit, going into the castle to kill von Berghoff. That's his name, right? I'm trying to remember. Who has your dad's sword, and someone who didn't have any context with him in the first game.
Ishvan Talk.
That's I was like, I immediately hate this guy, even though I don't have the context with him. This guy sucks. He talks shit to you the entire game. And I loved the fact that you started at the very bottom of the castle and you just slink your way all the way back up top. You remind me of Castlevania going up to kill Dracula. I was like, yeah, this is my kind of shit. Choking people out as I'm going up there. Get up there, have that awesome duel, knock him out of the building. I was like, yeah, that's good shit right there. Love that. Of course, the Italian job mission was so good. My Godwin was flawless. I had him liquored up just enough to do everything like that.
Nice.
It went wonderful. I also liked some of those moments where you were disguised as the wine boy or something like that. Where they would want certain wines, and you would listen to their whole conversation, which was fascinating, and trying to not fuck up during it all. I thought it was really cool.
You can end the game right there. Did you know that? You can kill the king. You can kill Sigismund right there.
What?
Yeah, you can kill Sigismund right there, and then get an ending screen right there.
Wow.
No way.
Wow.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Do you know the sequence? Because I remember it's it's red in the white wines, right? You go in there and they tell you there's one guy that's don't give him any liquor because he gonna mess up the whole thing. So I wonder what the sequence is to get, because I know there's a part that they all leave, right?
That's when you do it.
Von Alice and I guess you must stand up to him or something.
Yeah, that's when you do it. You can go around him to get to the wine because he asked for wine two times or three times, and that's when you can do it. So you just go back him. Just go stand to the back, and then you can stealth kill him. And then
that's so cool, dude. I love stuff like that. That's so
awesome.
rad.
I love that. Awesome.
Yeah, I did like the part about rounding up the whole gang.
Oh yeah.
Got to get the whole Inglorious Bastard squad to get back together. That was really fun, just meeting all the characters. I loved the Dry Devil versus Henry stuff all the time. I fought him one time to how we did an approach to get into the castle or something like that. We disagreed and I fought him. I beat his ass. It's fine, lad. We'll do it your way. Yeah, it was so good. I loved all that shit. It was great. I'm trying to think side quests. The murder mystery was definitely one of my favorite ones. That one was so cool. Kutenberg, fantastic city, just winding streets, so bustling and all that kind of stuff. And going out there at night and snooping around was awesome, man. I really did that. I did like the tournament too. I did it a couple times. I did it once. I was like, that was sick. And I did it again. And the loot was just kind of whatever again. And I was like, all right, maybe I won't do this again. But that one was really cool. And I remember like this one part early in the first zone. The people like the refuge camp or whatever, one of them gets kidnapped or something like that.
Oh, the daughter.
And this guy has like a knife to her throat or some shit. And I managed to shoot him in the head with like a bow and end it like right there. I was like, oh, that was sick. I took the huge leap and I was like, oh man, that was sick.
Nice.
Ended it like that.
Nice.
So just there's like a lot of just like little moments like that stood out to me, I guess, throughout the game. But yeah. I'm sure there's plenty. Like, look, I know you have a huge amount of notes and stuff, and so do you, Micah. If there's any moments you guys want to bring up as well.
Well, the Dry Devil was also my favorite character in the game, and I think it's so cool that he's the one who basically kills Markvard. Like he shoots him, and then the infection is what ultimately kills him, unless you.
Oh my god,
choose
that
otherwise.
scene though, dude! When you like get in the scene with him. And he's in his chair. Oh,
one of the best scenes of the game. Yeah.
What did you do? Did you kill him or did you let him rot?
I think first of all, the dialogue he had there is the best dialogue in the entire game.
Oh,
where he tells you, "I remember everyone I killed. It's not an everyday thing. War is a nasty business. I just did what had to be done, like you." He tells Henry, and that's when you figure out, like, oh shit, yeah, he's right.
That's me.
Like,
yeah.
How many fathers do you kill? He asks, and then he tells you that he has a wife and daughters, and this is just war. It's like it's not real life, and that was wow. That really got to me. I thought it was a great scene, but then I gave him the honorable death there. I stabbed him.
Me too.
In the ribs.
What about you, Micah? Did you let him suffer?
No, I let him, stand up and I stabbed him like he asked. So,
nice.
But what about Istvan? Did you guys do the duel or did you just like?
Yeah, the duel.
I just murdered him. I pushed him out that window.
I
was like, why would I give you an honorable death? All right, like you're the worst. So I stabbed him and pushed him out a window.
I wanted to assert dominance on him so much I even gave him a chance, and I still crushed him. I think that was my mentality.
The dog fucks that bitch.
Exactly, dude.
He was on it, bro. I get it. Micah, I understand. I ain't even mad at you.
Who was
that was the original punchable face. Okay, was medieval punchable face.
Yes.
Even his voice was annoying.
Yeah, he had such a good voice. Mm-hmm. Who was his lover? What was his name again? Eric. I loved that showdown with just you and Eric going out there solo.
Yeah.
Him just sitting there like sharpening his sword.
Bro,
so good.
And I like that he let your man go. He said under one condition. Tell that horse son to be over there and meet me at Sigismund X. I said, oh, that's gangster. Like, he want that one-on-one. I love that scene. Yeah, the way he was sitting, the way he was waiting. Great scene. I agree.
Yeah.
When he finds out that Istvan is dead, and then he kills the dog with like a sword, he just chops the dog in half.
Yeah.
What an asshole. That's also one of my main gripes with the game, because I was always under the impression that this was going to be the last one, but Eric survives, so I'm pretty sure there will be a third game where he will be one of the bad guys.
They'll probably do one more. Maybe not their next game, but...
Well, do you know a little bit about the history? Because the next big history part is 16 years later, is the Hussite Wars. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to wait 16 years, not real 16 years, of course, hopefully not.
But 16 years.
No, that's what they want to do for realism.
These days, you never know, of course. But I think that's where it's going to go. Because 16 years later, and Žižka, the real historical figure, played a huge part in that war. So I think that's where they're going to go next.
I don't know anything about that. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Locke, because for me, I'm a big fan, of course, of The Witcher and the books as well. And the Witcher author, Andrzej Sapkowski, also wrote a trilogy that is a fantasy take on the Holy Wars. And so it's the Hussite trilogy. So during the game, when you come across random preachers who are preaching the teachings of Jan Hus, and I'm like, oh my God, this is exactly like the book. And those books are excellent, by the way. It's the Tower of Fools trilogy. If you like alternate kind of history timelines, it's very much into like the politics and the war scheming, but also has like a little bit of sorcery and magic thrown in. It's really cool. But the whole time I'm playing this, like I am not a history buff like Colin, but even I had a little bit of background, a little bit of context on this. So I'm like, oh, all right, yeah, I know what's going on here. And these are the guys who want the regular people to be able to take communion, and they don't want all the services to be in Latin. They want people to understand it. And like even I had like a little bit of context. Thank you to the author of the Witcher books, because otherwise I would have no fucking clue.
Yeah. What was the army, the camp that was like the northeast of the second map? You know, like, yeah, you like you go into their like camp or whatever like that, and you go undercover there.
Yeah,
dude,
so cool.
I love that part. Anytime you go undercover in games like that, I just fucking love. It was so sick, man. It was a really cool thing to explore. That camp, it was laid out so well, so elegant. How everything was like. This is probably like how an army would lay out, like their stronghold or whatever. It was great.
Yeah, that was another super cool part when you have to help. What is the name of the healer? Like
Musa.
Yeah.
Yes, when you have to clear his name, and it's like that was another really fun investigative part, and it can go multiple ways because I thought I knew who did it and I had all the evidence and I accused the wrong dude.
Oh, no.
It worked. Everything worked out in the end, but I was like, oh yeah, I know exactly who did this and I had it wrong. And it didn't matter really because funny. They said justice was served, and I'm like, oh my God, I killed an innocent man. But that was another really cool part. I loved doing the little investigation. I missed a few clues, which is why I kind of botched it, but it all worked out in the end.
Yeah. Musa comes back at another critical moment in the Italian job. He's part of that group, right? And then there's a chance to talk about whether or not he knows Henry, and you could mess that up, if you're Godwin kind of thing. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. There's so many little payoffs for every little decision and interaction. It's so cool.
Yeah, really good. Let's see here. Ryan Van Wingerden wrote in, hey gang, how did you beat the For the Whom the Bell Tolls quest? My Henry jumped down a well and snuck around Trotsky on broken ankles. Thanks. Can't wait to hear this episode.
That's the one where you have to save Hans, right? Or no, that's the one where you have like 12 bell tolls until he gets...
Yeah.
I remember now. Okay.
Good boy, and I just did all the assignments.
Yeah, that's what
I did everything I had to do in the castle. I forged the horseshoes. I got the lockpicks. I brewed the potion for the Chamberlain, and then I brewed the potion for Thomas, the captain, and that's how I got out. Do you know that side quest there that you have to do for the miller? Right? Did anyone do that?
He's foul. He is foul.
I know he trolls you. Constantly. Yeah.
You have to find a book in the castle too, and then everybody just sends you somewhere else in the castle to find that book. But then later on, you find out that somebody went to the bathroom reading the book, and the book fell down the toilet outside of the castle, and the guy fell down with it. So when you go out looking outside for the book, you find the guy there too, lying dead in like a pile of shit outside of the castle.
Dude,
what is with them putting people in the poop pile? It's like because you also find that guy's bow, and because he's in the poop.
Yeah. And then there's a third quest with the the mint master who leaves his key in the house in the pile. I'm like, what is it? They love it because they want to put you in that. Was it the reek you smell?
Yeah.
They love throwing that on you.
I couldn't believe that quest where that guy. The guy's like, we need our money. You got to get our money, and the guy like, well, I don't know who the guy is, and he's literally just in the pile of shit, and you got to go in the shit and dig him out, and everyone's just standing there watching you. I was like, this sucks, man.
And Henry's voice acting like, ugh.
He's like selling the disgust so well, but here's the thing, that bow was way too good to give up. So I got the bow, and then I killed those guys.
Oh, hell yeah. That's like, there's this knight, I helped him get his armor back. Mm-hmm. It was like a yellow armor set. Then I gave it back to him. Then I waited for him to sleep. And I knocked him out, and I stole all his shit. I wore that set for like 20 hours.
It was a quest where I had to question my morals too. Again, they call it. There was the outlaws. They call the leader Vavode. Vavode. It's a funny name.
Yeah.
The nomads.
The nomads. Right, so you beat that whole quest line, which is long as hell. Yeah. Then there's the wife was like, hey, I think he's cursed. Go kill a dog and do like you got the blood of a dog. And I'm like, I did all this thing. And I saw it was like something with an R, the Rakobi saber. It's a saber.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at how powerful this thing was, and I gave it up. I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry, wifey. When you going to sleep, you're getting choked out.
Yeah,
I'm getting that saber. I am sorry. Like that weapon was so. I was still early in the game, and I was still struggling a little bit with combat. It was when I got that saber, and I learned the Master Strike from your man Tomcat. In that area. Yeah. So once I had those two, I was unstoppable in combat. But that was my evil moment, Brad. I had to do it. I was like, she made me do all that. And then I didn't really get much. They very cheap with the Groshin. I was like, oh, nah, bro. Like, I'm going to have to kill you. I did all that for like 50 Groshin? Nah.
He was wearing that suit, dude. And I was just staring at him, and I was like, I'm hating. I just eat his ass and stole it myself.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
I stole his horse. I stole his shield. I was all decked out in yellow. I looked good.
That boy was clean with that.
Yeah,
I like
exactly. Okay.
Too good. Oh, we said it was a quest. Was it for whom the bell tolls?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. That was when. Oh, you gotta save. Yeah, you gotta save. I think I kind of did a lot. I locked it. I did most of the basic stuff, but I think I focused specifically on the Chamberlain because my survival skills were good to give him the right remedy. My alchemy skills was good to make the potion. So I was just like boom, 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 and I was able. And once I got onto that little hating blacksmith who was sending me on wild goose chases with fake quests, and I was like, oh no, I know what you up to. So I scolded him, and then I just ended up probably getting to Hans that way because of the Chamberlain stuff, gave me more access to the castle, if I remember.
I beat his ass when he was asleep.
Wrong.
I waited till they went to sleep, then I made sure they knew not to do it again.
He deserved it. He was paying, bro, in that region. Oh man,
my Henry was very spiteful. He wanted vengeance.
You gotta do sometimes, man.
I was happy you could do that.
Yes.
That's another beautiful moment at the end of that quest when you really think they're gonna hang Hans.
Oh yeah,
with the music, Jesus, in that scene, incredible.
Yeah, that Chamberlain was foul. He was trying to get him, and then Oswald Van Barghoff comes in and he kind of saves the day. But the emotion, you like, wait a minute, you feel like they're gonna do it. Like they sell it well. They sell it very well.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, are there any other quests that stand out in your guys' minds or moments in the game you want to talk about?
The adder death scene to me. That was my favorite scene of the game. Beautiful. That was the one that really got me. There's only two games that ever, but it reminded me of the end of. Well, no, I'm not going to spoil. It reminded me of another game where something similar happens. Even with the way he lies down there and just talks to himself, and you see the torch slowly goes out, signifying his life. I thought it was beautiful. And then Ziska's reaction for leaving his body behind, beautiful.
It's funny because the adder died, and I was just like, this guy kind of fucks everything up anyways.
It was endearing.
Yeah,
you fall in love with him.
But he's just a fucking idiot, dude. And he's dragging the down.
It's funny because when you meet him, he was about to get hanged. For messing for effing someone's wife, and then he effed someone's during the mission. So it's kind of funny how he ended. But I would have been though. Yes, Brad, he did. He definitely does some missions. I'm not going to hold you for not feeling empathy, but I felt it was beautiful. I agree with a lot. It was so well done.
I was in the shoes of Henry. I'm like, well, I barely know this guy, I guess. He's kind of a friend. It's like, all right, well, people fall in combat. We all knew the risks here. You did almost fuck it up a couple times.
Who sold it is your man, his friend that makes the sausage.
Yeah.
Janusz.
Yeah.
Janusz sold it.
I felt more bad for him.
Yeah, he felt the weight even to the next mission because he was sitting to himself. You try to, because I agree. He sold it well, but to your point, bro, I get it.
That's probably a little too much.
Did you see the betrayal coming? Do you think, because
No.
up until then, that was my favorite character, Volcan de Brabant, because
I liked him too.
Here. I thought he was, this is so cool. It's a guy from here. I love him. And then he's deplorable bastard that stabs him.
I was pissed, dude.
Yeah.
I kind of felt it was coming though, because me and Hans kept catching him with his overindulgence of his stories. Remember, like he'd be like, "Oh, I did this," and we like, "Okay, so if you did all this and you're familiar with the tunnels, why you don't want to go in the tunnels with us?" "Oh, no, my friend." And I'm like, "All right, it was little." And then, but we broke in, and then he was supposed to kill someone.
Yes.
And he was just like, I don't want to kill someone in cold blood. And I'm like,
yeah.
So when it did happen, I was like, I had a feeling we left him with that money. Out that mint, I was like, I had a feeling about that one. So I kind of saw it, but it was still good. But I kind of felt he was up to something.
Yeah.
I thought he was more like comic relief to me. That's why I didn't see it coming. I thought he was just like the funny character they put in there to make fun of the French. But then it turns out he was really French. So,
what did you guys think of Samuel and his relationship with Henry and stuff? Being like half brothers.
No, that was really cool because I enjoyed how they kind of melded in the story with the Jewish quarter and how these people are really backed into a corner. They have to decide who to ally themselves with that they think won't betray them again type deal, right? So the fact that they kind of like, all right, they put their trust in Henry. And you find out that's, you're tangentially related to Samuel, in spirit, at least. That was really cool. I was really mad at Samuel, though, at the end when he like takes off on his own. Because I was like, now I got to rescue you. And I hate stealth, bro. Like, this.
Yeah.
But I had to do it. I had to rescue my boy. I had to check some guides, though, because I couldn't do it. I kept like fucking it up. And then I checked a guide that was like, you steal their clothes and then you can just walk around and then you got to overhear the password. And I was like, oh, all right. And then I finally did that. I was able to complete the mission, but I was like, I might leave Samuel behind because he did this to himself. And I was really struggling with the stealth. I kept trying the same checkpoint over and over. And I was like, I just can't figure out how to get past this dude. And even with the password and my clothes, a dude recognized me from Malashov and tried to fight me. So I had to kill that guy. But nobody else saw. So I was able to complete the rest of the mission. But that was another layer added of like, whoa, that dude recognized me from burning down the village.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I thought that was going to blow my cover completely. But like that was really neat detail.
I love how you handled that, Micah. I like slowly killed every single person in that camp. I feel like I killed, and there were still tons of people alive because there's people outside the camp patrolling. It's like I was like, how many guys are here right now?
There's just so many.
So many.
Stop.
But did all of you save Samuel?
Yeah, I did.
Because if you don't save him, they hang him, and you can find his body later. I saved him too, but I looked it up.
Dang, that's crazy.
It's really sad, and it's one of the more sadder reactions from Henry.
Yeah,
that has acted very well if he doesn't save him. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like you didn't know. It's very sad.
What happens to the French guy if you let him go?
Oh, he betrays you immediately. He walks away, immediately alerts the guards, and you get to kill him anyway. So he does.
Okay. I'm glad I killed him immediately. That's good.
He literally walks out of the house and starts yelling for the guards. Bastard, typical monster.
Typical.
That's funny. Micah, since you were playing such a bad Henry, were the parents at the end super disappointed in you, like the end cutscene?
So I discovered a workaround because, they were really upset and that hurt my feelings a lot. I played that game to the best of my ability. So here's what I did. I went on YouTube because I was like, I just want to see what the good ending looks like. Yeah. And I realized that the secret to the good ending is showing remorse because I just kept saying, but I did what I thought was right. And they were like, well, we clearly taught you nothing. And I was like, damn, bro, like I did what I thought was right. And then, so instead I reloaded that last, moment. And instead I just chose the options that were like, I don't know if I did the right thing. I don't think. And they were like, are you happy? And I think I said like, how could I be happy? Look what happened. And then they took me as repentant. And then I got a nice ending because I was like, this is bullshit. Like I was livid. that they were going to be mad at me after all of this. Like, it's a war, dude. Like you're not even my real dad, first of all. So like, fuck off. But like, also, like, it's a war, bro. I was like, so I couldn't believe it. I was like, how dare you walk away from me, your ghostly apparitions, and you're like, we're disappointed in you, son. And it's like, okay. And so, yeah, I reloaded that, chose repentance, got a better ending.
Mike, it's funny because it's like, they were more disappointed in me more than happy. And I was like, I don't even know who you are. I don't fucking know you. I didn't even know you from the first game, so I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's an important thing is, you know, playing the first game, you really are your only mission. Like, you want your father's sword back.
Yeah.
And you watched them die.
Yeah.
And you want to avenge them. And then for them to be disappointed in the way I did it now, they're correct. All right. I did a lot of bad stuff. I did burn down 2 villages. I was a very bad Henry. But they didn't have to be so like mean about it, you know? Like they just could have been a little more cool. So yeah, I didn't want that to be the last time Henry saw them, because his face too, he's like crushed when you get that ending. And I was like,
was his crushed? Mine wasn't like super crushed.
He just
seemed
looked
kind of
so
neutral.
upset.
I was like, bro, in my game, I was like, bro, you got Catherine now? You got like a home now?
Oh, hell
Good to
yeah.
go.
I mean, if we wanted, like, I'd be curious who people like romanced, because I romanced
everybody.
Henry was fucking anything that wasn't nailed down.
Yeah,
so like the lady in the flower field, Rosa, Catherine, like, you know, Catherine is who I chose in the end when Radzig's like, do you have a lucky lady? And I was like, yeah, Catherine, I like that one, you know?
Me too.
But yeah, I was all into the romance storylines. Hans, I mean, I reloaded that because I felt like he was my bro after all. I was like, wait a minute, I actually don't feel like this like meshes with how I picture them. So I wanted to see the cutscene, but I reloaded the save and did not do it again.
That's funny. Someone wrote in about Catherine's, for us to rate Catherine's titties. And I was like, I don't know if I need to put it in here, but we can if we want.
I mean, to me, they're all the same, you know. The tit's a tit. I mean, I did see on Facebook recently a photo of a woman in a bikini, and they were literally down to her belly button. I was like, wow, that's 50.
Whoa.
So they were better than that. You know, I'd give them a solid. Nice. I give them a 9.5, I guess, because I think a 10. Nice. I don't know what a perfect 10 looks like.
They were very nice. How would you rate them, Locke?
Well, I made a big mistake, Brad. I made a very big mistake, because when I started this game, I figured surely Theresa is going to be in this game from the first game. So I figured I'm going to be a loyal, good Henry. Yeah. But she was in the game, and you guys didn't see her probably, because I got the secret ending. And the secret ending is if you don't romance anyone, don't sleep with anyone, and stay loyal to Theresa, the very last after credit scene is Henry riding into Rate and Theresa waiting for him there. But
regret.
It's such a stupid little scene that literally takes 20 seconds that I wish I didn't do that. So on my second playthrough, the hardcore playthrough, I'm definitely going to play like you, Micah, and everyone's going to die. And everyone's going to get, I'll rate everyone's,
That's the thing. I wanted to be faithful to Theresa. Like, I had that in my head at the beginning.
Yep.
But I was just kind of like, there's no way I'm missing out on the Sir Hans like romance scene. Like, as someone who loves visual novels, the goal is to collect all the romance scenes in those games. And I was like, I'm not missing that. And then it was also like, well, I want to see what Rosa's got, and I want to see what this woman in the flower fields got. And you know, Catherine, I may as well just hit all the romance options there too. I don't know where that's going to pan out. So I was just like,
she was holding around.
You might as well, right?
Wait, what about dude at the it was a dude at the thing. You could romance
him bang a dude.
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes,
I don't think I knew that.
It's before. What scene was it? It's one of the ones where it's very early. It's very early.
Can bang Hans, can't you?
Yeah,
I
did that.
Like very specific steps or something. Yeah, like it was like I was like, it's too much work for all this. But, yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, because he was like, yeah, if you're looking for company, I'm like, oh, dude is. Okay. I didn't know. I was like, okay, I'll see what this is.
That's literally me probably just being naive and be like, oh, I might want to play dice later or something. I hate dice. You know, if you look over some company and I'm like, no thanks. I don't really want to.
It's your dice. You do that one.
No, it really was too. Like the thing with Sir Hans, because I loved that character. And at first I was like, all right, like let's kind of see where the romance storyline goes. Mm-hmm. But it really was just like, I was like, no, these dudes are best friends. They're like, I can't, it just didn't square up in my head. And also you have to choose between Hans or Catherine. You can't romance both. And I was like, well, I got to see Catherine's scene too. And then I liked that one better. So like, all right, so we're just going to roll with that. That's canon now.
I bet you did like that Catherine scene better.
If you could romance the Dry Devil, I would have done that.
Oh my god! I mean, awesome. Dude, Cog, do you know the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis?
Yes,
like, it
very Mark Davis energy.
It's the same haircut because I was like Colin and I for years were like Mark Davis has like a 1400s haircut, like a medieval haircut, and then like. It hit me midway through the game. I was like, the Dry Devil has the same exact haircut as Mark Davis. And like the whole game, I was just cracking up whenever he's on screen. I'm like, yeah, but how are the Raiders doing?
Yeah, and that voice.
Oh my God, he does. Dude, he is the Dry Devil.
No, listeners at home, if you're not familiar with the owner of the Raiders, Google Mark Davis, Raiders owner.
Why do you have
the same haircut? This dude's a billionaire. He's got a haircut from the 1400s.
That would have been funny if they made Dry Devil romanceable. I agree, like that would have been hilarious.
Henry, bring me a drink. Yeah,
you got the wine. Oh, you let your pecker get in the way of the decision. I'm like, damn, he going in. Like Dry Devil was a funny character, great character.
There's one line. You just overhear this. It's not even a cutscene, but Dry Devil and Jiska are talking in a hallway, and they're going over plans. And Jiska says, "Oh, the devil only knows," and he goes, "No, I don't." And like I fucking laughed so hard because it was just really funny. It was that type of just you only would have noticed that if you stood by and just listened to them talking. And it was so funny. I'm like, I can't believe you would risk people not seeing this because that was genuinely a great line. Perfect delivery. They laughed. Like, it's also at the end, like, you can eavesdrop on Hans talking to his uncle. And they say some really funny stuff about, like, events that happened in the first game that I really want to spoil for Brad. But, like, they say some really funny. Well, let's just say Henry had some illicit interactions with a married woman. And it turns out later that she's pregnant, and they're essentially being like, you know, Hans is letting his uncle know, like, I was pretty sure that's Henry's kid, you know? And there's another scene with Godwin where they say something like, you know, you don't care. What matters is what comes out of the oven, not who stirred the batter. He says something like that.
Oh, man.
And so it just is like, yeah, it's like an open secret that everyone knows this kid is really Henry's.
That's funny.
And these are just some of those moments, though, you couldn't absolutely miss. So that was another cool facet of the game of like actually just kind of eavesdropping on people because it's not all given to you in the cutscenes.
Yeah. Let me read this here from Ben Springston. Christ be praised, KCD2 is my goatee so far. However, I did find the end sequence with your parents kind of disconnected from how I viewed my character. I didn't murder any civilians. Okay, one civilian who kept beating my ass in dice. I chose not to pillage a city, and I did most of the honorable choices, but I still got an ending where my parents called me a huge piece of shit. How did you fare ending-wise, and do you think it was deserved? Thanks, and keep up the great content. I think Henry's parents are just extremely strict or have high expectations of him.
Well, it's not really his parents. That's Henry himself, of course, talking to. That's his conscience. Like it's himself.
It's not like an actual fucking ghost coming in. Henry.
No, I that makes me feel better though, because it does just come down to then not being too self-assured and really just leaning into repentance. Versus, because if you didn't pillage the city and you didn't kill civilians and you still got that ending for saying, like, I did what I thought was right, then clearly, like, the way to salvation is to just say, like, oh, maybe I didn't always do the right thing. That makes me feel better. Because I was like, I was a really bad Henry, but, like, my heart was sometimes in the right place.
Yeah.
there's 5 decisions that I looked it up. There's 5 decisions that mark how they react, and it's if you kill Brabant, if you kill Markvard, if you burn Samin, and if you burn what's the other guy?
Malashov.
Malashov.
Yeah.
And if you steal or not. Those are the 5 things. And if you did 2 of the 5, you get the bad ending.
2?
Unless you repent. Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, I'm stealing. You had to steal. I was broke.
Yeah,
They gave me nothing.
Well, it's not
Like-
just stealing, but if you get branded, I mean.
Oh, no, but that's what I'm
okay,
saying.
gotcha.
Like,
Get branded.
like, if you could only do 2 out of those things, it's like, yeah, well, I killed Mark Fart and I killed the other guy. Like, you simply must. You simply must. I burned all those
simply
places to the
must.
ground. Like,
That's really funny.
Also, if you don't kill Markvard, you can come back the next day and he just lies there dead. Like you can see his body and he has like a letter on him, something. And I also saw an after credit scene where he's still alive, and I don't know how that's possible.
I isn't that a flashback?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think
that's
a
a
flashback to the king saying, if you want to pay the army, then you got to go get the silver. And that's
You're
when
right.
the siege begins because they
You're
have
right.
all the silver they stole.
You're right. That's that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
a
it.
goofy scene. I forgot about
That was really
Yeah.
funny because
Yeah.
the dude kept being like, one more thing, my lord. Like that was genuinely funny.
Yes.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. That's
Okay. Let's see here. Sam Brown wrote in, "Hey all, can we get everyone's thoughts on the siege section at the end of the game? Did it meet your expectations as a finale? And would you have preferred the game remain open instead of enclosed in the castle? I thought it was a well-made bonding finale for the party, but it also highlighted the jank of the close quarters combat. Also, would you prefer KCD 2-3 to begin where 2 left off, similar to how the first game ended, or would you rather have a time skip?"
Well, I'm pretty sure that time skip is going to happen because at this point in history, not much is happening anymore for, I think, a decade at least, which is when the Hunnite Wars begin. So I think it makes sense to jump in time, and maybe we'll play as Henry's kid or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll play as somebody else in the next game. You never know, of course, although I don't think they'll do that. I think we'll still play as Henry. But they also said that they first want to do something else. So we'll see when that happens. But I thought the siege section was maybe the weakest part of the game to me at the end. First of all, I didn't want the game to end, and I knew it was ending there, and I didn't want it to end. I wanted the next part of the game. And second of all, I like the conclusion at the end, but it wasn't. I thought this game was really going to end with Henry being knighted or something, and we get like this big sprawling ending. But it did what the first game kind of did. It just ended, and then there will be more, just to be continued. And I'm like, oh, come on, you already did that. Like, give me the ending now.
I feel you.
So I thought the siege section was cool, but they already did that like at three other points throughout the game. So it didn't hit as hard as it could have, I think.
Yeah.
I would similarly agree. I think that look, I like the epic scale of it, obviously, what they're trying to convey. But I do agree with Sam Brown in terms of sometimes the siege parts does show the clunkiness sometimes of, multiple characters. And sometimes I could just cheat because I'm like, this soldier has his back exposed to me. I can, I can do stuff. But then you get into the whole, all right, ladders, pull stuff off. And then I guess for me, where I really agree with you, Locke, is that the way KCD starts, they set you up with like the flashback that you will eventually get to this moment, right? So these moments is going to happen, and I was hoping that because the way it was pitched was like Henry from a peasant to this. It was first was KC1, and now to a knight was KCD2. So I agree. I was like, okay, and they throughout the game they call you knights. Some of the characters call you knight based on the good deeds you do and stuff like that. So I would have liked that payoff, but I do feel it's the classic. You nailed it, like it's the classic. We're going to leave some stuff open. Not that the ending was bad, but we're going to leave some stuff open so that we eventually play in KCD3 and then take it, further, stuff like that, as opposed to giving him more of a definitive send-off / finish, with him being knighted, which I would have really liked. But I guess I wasn't mad or anything like that. I was just one of those things like, okay, I see what they're doing here. This is they gamified this, or to get the money, keep the money train going because they know they got something.
Yeah. What'd you think, Micah?
Yeah, in terms of that section being closed off, I did really love the story element of we are being starved out. like the dire straits of you keep going to is it Janosch for like rations, and your rations are getting smaller and smaller, and you can try to like bully him into giving you more rations. You can complain about the fact that they took all your food and pooled it together, like, and eventually there's nothing, and eventually you can like literally like kill a dog and eat it, because Hans is looking at dog turds and saying like, I'd eat that right now. So it really gets to a point of like desperation. And the setup of that for the siege really was the big payoff for me of like, wow, we are at the absolute dire straits here. I will say that I agree, the siege itself, it seems like it's so chaotic. It does bring out the worst bugs in the game. In the intro, like Cog said, in the intro to the game, where you're playing as Godwin during the siege, it was broken for me. The crossbow would not reload. And like I fired one bolt and it would not reload. And I just was just walking around there like, oh, fire, what are you doing? And it's like,
had the same issue.
Exactly. And it just would not work. And so I'm laughing and Colin's like, well, what's going on? I said, I'm already hitting a bug in the game because the crossbow doesn't work. It was because my stamina wouldn't refill. I was standing completely still, not touching any buttons. His stamina was just not refilling and you couldn't fire. You couldn't do anything. So I was like, all right, cool. We're off to a great start in terms of bugs. And it did seem like the siege pushing the ladders could be a little buggy sometimes, stuff like that. It did seem like we are pushing this game to its limits right now with how many enemies are around the gate. And you really can shoot them all with your bow and arrow. Like they aren't just there for show. But it did seem like it was really like the game was kind of chugging towards the end, even on the Series X. And I was like, okay, the siege was cool. I liked the siege combat. Like Cog said, it was really fun to kind of walk up on a group of people and start stabbing them in the back. Okay, I love that. But I agree that in terms of like mechanically sound, it wasn't the best like gameplay section.
Yeah, I really loved it from a narrative standpoint. They did a really good job of selling me on everyone just kind of being trapped and everyone worrying about food and that kind of stuff, like giving you time to walk around the castle while you're locked down pretty much and everyone just freaking out, women crying in the corner or something like that. I was like, yeah, they're really selling this. Is really good. Just when the combat starts, it's a little, like you guys are saying, wonky. Like how I did it is I got up on the rampart in a narrow like stairway and there was like 20 guys just lined up to take me on and I was killing one at a time because they all couldn't fit in the thing at one time. So I just sat there for a while, killing one. Okay, next. Then it'd come up next. And at the end, there's just some huge pile of bodies on the stairs. It was great.
Dude, like that's a key strategy during some of the like bandit camps. There's one of the bandit camps that they took over like a mill or like a tannery something, and there's a narrow bridge, and so I was a little underleveled for it, but all I did was with my bow and arrow stood at the very end of the bridge and only one of them could fit down it at a time. I'm just firing arrows at them. And I picked off the first 3 and then I could take on like the remaining 3.
Hell yeah. Choke points, and my trick was also like ladders or staircases where they all have to funnel out. I'm like, gotcha.
Did you use the guns a lot in the game, or the pistol? I never used one. Never.
I tried because there's an achievement to shoot. It was like called High Noon to shoot someone who's shooting at you. And I never got it because of that. The accuracy was just so poor and it takes so long to load the damn thing. Like I tried to use the guns and I gave up. I was like, I'm not going to get that achievement, I guess.
I gave up to the accuracy. There's the mission where you are trying to get Sam's mom free. And there are 2 archers on the thing. And at the time, for whatever reason, I didn't pack like any like the arrows. I didn't have any bolts for my crossbow. So I'm like, damn it, I gotta use the pistol, right? Because there's long range. You can't get to them.
Well, you can run up the ramparts there to the side.
See,
I had the exact same problem as you, and I was like, "Well, I don't have anything." But then I found out that you can get up a bit. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that because I didn't know. I'm thinking there's no way. I thought this was the game forcing me to use long range combat. So I sat there for like an hour just missing over and over. And these two guys are just letting me have it with these arrows while the mom is hiding and me trying to clear the path. And then, so I would say that was the roughest one. But I had success with the gun one time. And that was during right when the French guy betrays you and Adder dies, right? Mm-hmm. They said he has the French guy has 3 or 4 soldiers to come fight before Adder dies. And at that point, I was like, all right, everyone's distracted. You know what? Might be time to try the scatter shot. So I will say the scatter shot up close, it's a one-hitter quitter. It takes forever. But when you line that thing up and you get the thing going, the ignition hits, you will one-shot someone, and it's actually very satisfying, but it just takes so damn long.
Yeah, I would use it. Sometimes I'd sneak up on a bandit camp and they'd be sitting around the fire. So I would have a gun loaded and just blast one guy from behind and then shake out the rest of the people. That did work. But sometimes there'd be way more people in that camp. They start coming out of the tents. You're like, oh, fuck. I thought there was 3 of you guys at a campfire. Then 6 more appear.
Yeah. I would use it only in one-on-one situations, so I got a complete advantage. Someone's distracted.
Let's see here. Brownie Bro wrote in, hey, gents, what are your hopes for KCD3? Are there any tweaks to the current mechanics that you would like to see? Are there new game systems you would like to be implemented akin to the alchemy and blacksmithing system? Take care and remember, how do you say this? Favors the all. That's it. Yep. Lockmort. I always look to Lockmort for that as well. He just knows it by heart.
Audentes Fortuna Juvat.
Audentes Fortuna Juvat.
Audentes Fortuna Juvat. It means power to the brave or something. Right? Yeah.
We need a sound clip of it. I can just play whatever.
Add that to the soundboard instead of the womp womp horn that sometimes plays.
Stuff y'all want to see.
Yeah. KCD3.
I mean, here's the thing. I think it could go so many different directions. Like we said, the Eric is alive. So in Lockmort is saying, it would be cool to do a time skip to a more important time in history. They could also go the route of saying, well, what was Zizka up to between these 2 points? Maybe instead of going to where the history books take us next, we're focusing on what he was up to in the meantime. Obviously, I'm not a history nut, so maybe he was actually just planting daffodils and shit. But there could be a different avenue there where we're hunting down Eric and Jiska's helping us with that. And along the way, we're building up his army for the future or something. I do want to see the completion of this storyline. And I definitely want to continue playing as Henry. He's a young buck. So 16 years. Dude, Lord Divish was still fighting. And he's 60 years old in the first game. Okay. And he's out there. Yeah. So Henry's definitely young enough to come back. So that's what I'd really like to see but it needs to be the finale, I feel, because it's not that I want them to stop working on this. I just want the story to stay as high quality as it has been so far. So them wrapping up Henry's story and then making a new medieval sim with some other guy would be excellent, because I just think they're so good at this. I can't express to you enough how angry I was when CD Projekt made Cyberpunk and not more Witcher, because I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I don't want this. I don't want this. I want fantasy. You're good at that. They were good at the other thing too, but I can't dispel my anger. So if Warhorse comes out and they're like, we're making a steampunk, future game, I'm gonna go to wherever they live and we're gonna have a chat.
Well, you know what the rumor is, Micah? You know what they're doing next? You'll be happy, I think.
You
know what the rumor is? The rumor is that they're making a Lord of the Rings game next.
An actual good one?
Look at what they did here. Imagine this game, but in Middle Earth. That would be amazing, no?
Ooh, dog. Yeah. That would be something. That would be something. I'll be a little upset because I'm impatient. I where's Henry? But if they actually made a good Lord of the Rings game, I mean, I can't be mad at that.
They could use the actors maybe in Lord of the Rings cameos or something like that.
Yeah.
That was actually something you mentioned about reusing voice actors. This is not for the same characters, but one of the voice actors from the first game definitely was like an NPC in the second one, but he had like the most flat affect, and I was like, oh my god, it's that guy again, because the first game had some gnarly voice acting. Like, no offense, but the second game stepped up the quality tremendously. But then they did bring back a couple of the OGs, and you're like, oh, it's this guy again from like the local theater troupe, because that's just kind of like everyone else was like, you know, Hollywood caliber, and then this dude's just like reading off a page. And
well, you know what that is? Because that's probably true, but you know why that is? Because the original game is not in English. It's in Czech, of course. Well, that's not true, but they hire a lot of Czech actors from there. So they only speak Czech, and then when they speak English, it probably sounds like crap. So that's probably why.
Yeah. I think I'm with you, Locke, as far as, just telling the next historical point, as far as KCD. But I want Henry back, obviously. I think we need a conclusion. We need, to see where his journey goes. And I want him to get his due now. Like, we've done the peasant. We've done, everything, this rise and down. He's a figure. Now, granted, he's a fictional character in this real world, but I would like some payoff, with him, being a knight to a lord or something like that. It would be awesome to see how they figure it out and see what that next period in that time period. So the only question is, how do they do the time jump if there's nothing major immediately right after, where KCD 2 ended historically, right? So that's the only thing. Like, do they advance Henry in age and just go on? Like, because KCD 2 picks up literally right after KCD 1 ends. It's an immediate, you're sending the letter, you and Hans, after the end. So I'm just curious how they do the transition at the start of KCD 3, if there is a waiting period out.
Yeah.
Well, the Hussite War, I think I read this, but I could be wrong. Also, Hans Capon and Ziska are like on opposing sides in that war, so maybe that causes more conflict. So I think it's pretty inevitable that they're going there, but who knows? Maybe not.
Oh, I mean, that's so interesting because who does Henry choose?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's. Oh man! Well, how long is it going to take to make this game? You think they can get it done in like 3 years?
Well, this one they made pretty fast because the first game came out in 2018, so 7 years for this. That's amazing. Yeah. I think 7 years for this. So, but I don't think they're working on it yet. So
it'll probably be a while.
Probably be a decade.
Yeah, and they got tons of content for this still playing. Right? So
we still got the DLCs too.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I hope that I'm not hating on my girl Teresa. But I did not like her DLC at all in the first game. Really? And please don't do that again.
Well,
because it's like, it is trash to play as a woman in this time period. She's got no weapons. Nobody likes you. Everyone thinks you're just like a dog, basically. And it's like, I didn't want to do this. Like, it's just not great. So give me DLCs or I get to be a fighter. Like I don't. Yeah. It was cool that they did it. But the reality is that being a woman in the 1400s, not ideal. Wasn't really fun.
Yeah. I would be surprised if one of them things like your Catherine in the DLC. She's a little more shady and underhanded, though. Like, you can stab people, someone. Yeah. So you can probably get some of that. That could be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I got this one last write-in. I just thought it was cool from T. Connor 314. Hey guys, KCD2 might be or might now be one of my favorite games of all time, but it might just be the best blacksmithing game of all time. I'd like to see them go further with the types of weapons and possibly let you make armor in KCD3. Also, playing the game got me into watching the blacksmithing competition show Forged in Fire and possibly trying a blacksmithing workshop sometime. I forged so many weapons in KCD2 that by the end, money was no problem. I had more Sir Valentine swords than vendors in Kutenberg could afford. Take care, and I hope you have an uneventful shift. Damn. Uneventful, okay. But yeah, shout out to the blacksmithing. I loved the blacksmithing in this game. I thought it was so fun. It's so well done. It struck a really nice balance between realism and like still making it enjoyable to do. Because if it's like the real thing, it's probably going to suck ass. But they still made it a little video gamey, so it was good. I would love to see them do more stuff like that. But I'm like, what could they do for Henry? Because he was a blacksmith. I don't know.
did you get like the little gimmick during the blacksmithing that if he was singing a song from the
I
first
love
game,
it.
you were doing
I
well?
love it.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I didn't know it was from the first game, but I knew the song.
I knew I was hitting it right when you on timing with that.
Mhm.
It becomes it's very euphoric, and I'm like, I'm doing well.
It was
Flip it
good.
over, okay, and then you get your little cues of Brad, like when it's too hot. All right, you very. I admit that was what I came in. I admit. Kicking and scratching. I was like, oh, they're going to make me do this damn blacksmithing thing. I don't want to do this. I want to hurry up and get this over with. And once I learned it, I was like, this is actually pretty fun and relaxing. And I just love that whistling, knowing that you're doing well. And then you get the stat bumps and stuff like that. And I really ended up really appreciating blacksmith. But to his question, yeah, I mean, there's so much they can do with it. I mean, they can still do more with it. I will say, though, as a person who learned the Master Strike and was like the short sword person, and swords just so OP. Like they
are.
really are. Like it was to the point where like I felt like I was at a disadvantage because I know I've spoke to Toby and the guys from Warhouse, and they were like, hey, they took the feedback of taking maces and being stronger blunt weapons, but I just still feel they're not strong enough to compete with the swords. The swords are just so dominant. So I would like to,
just too good.
Yeah,
Too good.
I would
too
really,
easy to do.
100%. So yeah, I would like them to really give. And they did say they're taking feedback. They actually said, I guess some patches and stuff are coming a lot in reference to this type of stuff. So we got that. But as far as for the future, I guess how'd you guys feel about armor? I'm curious if would you think they would mess with that? Because I will say, Brad, you made a good point. Once I got to Kutenberg, I had so much money. I had bought everything, and then I wasn't really finding interesting loot that was more powerful. It became the only thing that I started to find was, okay, for my second build of a noble, my second suit, I would just put on stuff that had high charisma to really maximize my speech stuff. But armor-wise, like I had, what you call it? Was it the bassinet thing? What they call it with the
bassinet?
Yeah.
I call it the bassinet. I don't know how to pronounce it.
That's right. That's correct.
Oh, I said it right. Oh, I didn't even know. I said I'm terrible pronunciation. So you got that, and then your coulters, all the things that I needed. I just felt like, damn, there wasn't nothing else to chase. So maybe armor, blacksmithing, end game becomes something. But what do you guys think? I'm curious about how you guys felt about armor.
I would be. Well, yeah, for all that, I think it'd be really good. And what could really help that, I think, is having a third-person mode in this game. I think it can really go a long way. I mean, I don't know how well it's done in like Avowed. I know they have it and stuff like that in games like that, how much it's made for it. And I understand first person is the top priority, but just being able to let a player easily look at their armor like in the world, I think will go a long way for like people chasing customization and stuff like that. It's one thing I like to see them do.
Okay. What you guys think?
But I'm very curious. I really want to play the hardcore mode. But I think I'm going to wait until all the DLCs are out because I think hardcore mode makes the armor more viable. Because right now, like I said, or like we all said at the end, we were all so OP that nothing could harm us. And I think if you took off all the armor, it would still be the same because nobody ever hits you because you're so Master Strike here. You can just deflect everything. But I think maybe in hardcore mode it matters more. But other than that, it's a hard thing to do. I think the first game did it better, the armor there, because you had always had something to work towards, and here you got to the top level too fast and too easy. But I also wouldn't know how to do that. Then you would have to level gate the environments, and I'm so glad that they didn't do that. So it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to change. Maybe a third region every time the armor levels up, I guess, or maybe your blacksmithing levels up and you can level up the armor more and more and more, something like that too. But I loved how it looked. All the armor looked so cool.
Yeah, they looked great.
Yeah, for sure. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's actually the thing. So the DLC armor that you hunt down and find, I kept that for the whole game. I was only upgrading like the chainmail underneath and like your padded, hauberk, whatever you call it. I was upgrading those things, upgrading my shoes, but I just liked that armor. And so I just kept it most of the game. Yeah. But that was, to Locke's point, I really wasn't chasing better armor. I was just repairing what I had over and over, looking for better chainmail, better helmets. But that was kind of the limit because I was like, I just like this armor a lot. And it's the DLC armor. I'm going to wear it all the time. And I did. So for me, it was especially like, I wasn't even hunting down like better plate armor until like the very end because I was just like, this is good enough. This is fine. And I didn't want to be too overpowered because even you basically, as soon as you are able to go find all those pieces, you have this armor that you have never been able to afford at that point. Same with the huntsman's, kit. You have this really great crossbow all of a sudden.
Ooh.
You have an outfit that's pretty high charisma that you wouldn't have been able to afford otherwise. I want those things. I would buy that again, but it did kind of break the game a little bit in the beginning. You start out higher, level than you should.
I agree.
Yeah.
Big time.
Maybe they could have made it so the DLC unlocks like when you get to a certain point in the story, and then because they kind of do that, but maybe they could have bumped it a little further out.
Yeah.
But then you're gonna end up running into the people who decide to do every side mission first, and by the time they get to their DLC armor, they found something better. Yeah. So that's definitely a tricky thing to balance. You're either gonna withhold it from people, and then it's gonna be underpowered by the time they get to it. Or you let people have it right away and they're kind of, too powerful for the starting areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough
All right,
one.
guys. Before we wrap everything up, I guess, is there any final thoughts from each of you that you want to cover that we haven't covered?
Well, I think this is a very interesting time for this game because next week, I know it's still a rumor, but next week we're getting Oblivion. And I think this game blows Oblivion out of the water, even though I love Oblivion. It's one of my favorite games of all time. So I'm so curious to see what happens next week when we get Oblivion. And of course, they made it better, or they remastered it and changed a couple of things. I really want to see how this holds up to a Bethesda game or to a CD Projekt Red game now, because I think these guys took the crown at this point. So I'm very curious to see what happens next for them and what happens next week. And I think we talked about it for 2 hours now. I love this game so much. It's such a cool game. It's such a cool game to talk about. It's I just want to play it again right now, which is a testament to how good it is. So I think Warhorse did a tremendous job. I think I can't wait to see what they do next. I think they're like Larian. They're like the new top of the bill in games right now. Yeah. So I can't wait.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's they've set the bar now. This is a space, that they are, to me, they're the title holder. They're the champ now, as far as realistic sim. And, I actually got into the mindset of okay, let me check my nourishment. Did I eat before I go to bed? How am I gonna react in the morning? Do I got my cockerel potion to keep my energy up just in case I'm gonna be out in the wilderness for a couple of days? You get into that. And I thought, even though I think we all were kind of a little pissed with our parents at the end with the decision, but I did like the Red Dream sequences, especially with Ishvan Toth with the hey, you're no different than me. We're all orphans here, and you're gonna make decisions. And I thought, because he was like the ultimate person that you hate, but he had so much truth in the things he was saying. So you got that, and of course, look, there's still glitches. I forgot there was one glitch that did drive me crazy though, which was I would go to a town like, hey, I want to stay here for a couple of nights, and for whatever reason, KCT doesn't want to show me my bed that I paid for, and there's no icon on the map until I literally search every house, every tent, and then you wake up in the morning, you sleep, and they're like, "Oh, you wasn't supposed to sleep here." And I'm like, "Come on, bro, I paid for it." So you got your little annoyances, but the reason why I forgive the little glitches that they have is because there's no other game doing this. There is nothing that compares to it with all of these systems. And again, like I said before, it's a testament to all the dialogue, the writing, the narrative, the quest building. And KCD is so fun because I can be having a conversation with a person, and you have the face on Henry, and you see the main character of who you talk to. I'm looking at the background. I'm seeing a guy in the back ordering beer, and hey, it feels so alive and lived in. And again, a testament to the engine and how well things run, and it really feels like a real world. So I can't get enough of it. And I guess I would say the feedback I would say for the next one would just be like, I think it started off hard, and then once you hit a certain part, you're just like OP crazy. Mm-hmm. And I think they have to do something. I know hardcore mode is an answer for a lot of people, but I do feel like for the next one, it still needs to be something in the middle that we don't just blast through the end so hard, so quickly. So that would be the feedback I give. But ultimately, I love this experience, man. I really did. It's so much fun. Such a good game. And last point I'll say is, I've never been so addicted to skill points, perk points, skill checks. Did this like I'm like a little kid when I see that little golden star next to what I'm gonna level up. It's an addictive thing, and it's pure RPG.
It's great.
I love it, man. Absolutely, it's definitely a game of the year contender for me. And Warhorse have grown, man. They show they are the champ. So I know what you're saying with Oblivion. Like I love Oblivion. Oblivion is the OG that a lot of people, but with the act of doing something by repetition to level up, right? They've set the bar for that. They've done so many things that KCD has borrowed from, but KCD has now taken this to the next level. There's nothing, respectfully, Oblivion, there's nothing I think you're going to do that's going to beat that. But I'm going to play you, though, because, OG, I want to see the glow up. You know what I'm saying? But nah, KCD, they're the champ in that space.
Yeah. Micah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to leave off saying, in terms of just how perfect this game was for me, I had mentioned to you, Brad, on a separate show, this was the first game ever probably where your level being reset at the beginning didn't actually anger me because it actually felt legit, and they didn't completely reset all of your stats. Like, you didn't have to learn how to read again. Like in the first game, Henry can't read. You have to go to a scribe, pay him to teach you how to read. You start with the very basics, Marietta, a little lamb type shit. And in this sequel, they lower the level on some of your stats there, but you don't have to start from scratch on everything. And I found that really fair. And it just made sense. It's like, yeah, Henry has basically had a catastrophic accident. He has injured himself. He has to learn again how to fight after healing. And it was just the first time that a level reset in a game made sense to me, didn't bother me. And it's because they just did it in a way that was so fair. I will leave off too saying, for people like Brad who jumped in with KCD 2 and are curious, should I check out the first one? I do recommend it still. I'll say firstly that even doing the main story plus a lot of side quests, I was able to beat that game in 48 hours. Still a time commitment, but it was under 50 hours to do main story, many side quests, versus 85 hours for the second game for me to do main story and many side quests. And I'll just say that the story in the first game is worth seeing. Even if you only check out the cutscenes on YouTube, it's obviously more impactful when you make the choices yourself, because it's a little less in-depth, but that game also has tremendous choices to be made, a million ways to play the game, to be a bad Henry or not. And I do think it is worth seeing. But at a bare minimum, maybe watch the cutscenes if you haven't seen them and you're curious, because it does just add a lot more context for Henry's journey in the second one. Much like I feel like everyone should play Yakuza 0. If you've played Kiwami 1, but you didn't play 0, like, you gotta go back and play it, because it just adds so much to the relationships in the game. But this game was incredible. It came out, during a kind of rough time period for me. The listeners know my grandma died back in November, and playing this game, getting lost in this world for a while, was exactly what I needed. So it definitely is always going to be special to me for that reason as well. It was the perfect example of video games as an escape from whatever's going on in your life. And it was just so delightful. I loved every second of being Henry. Maybe not every second. Some missions, for whom the bell tolls kind of pissed me off, all right? But like, I still, this experience was amazing. And I can't wait for some DLC missions to come out. I really can't say enough good things about this game.
Yeah, and legit laugh out loud moments, right?
Yeah.
Dude, like, they really got me sometimes. And without undermining the serious moments, without ruining the sad tones at time. They weren't like making cheap shots with the jokes. They really did just fit at the right time. That's difficult. That's not easy to tell. Like, for example, I don't mean this as a hater. Like, I've watched Colin play The Last of Us Part 2 now for a second time this month, and there's not a lot of humor, right? It's dark, deeply serious, a little one note. There's some humorous moments, but very few. And this game, man, it just really, they made it work. They made it work, and that's what real life feels like. We just watched a video the other day of a guy, who visits a war zone essentially, and the residents are joking around with him the day that a bomb went off.
Yeah.
And it just is like, this is real life where we are hardwired to survive things, and a big part of that is through making light of them. No matter how serious something is, we are hardwired to just try and stay positive in some way. This game captured that in a way that I just hadn't really seen before.
Cool. Yeah. I'll just kind of echo everything you guys said. Awesome game. I'm super happy I played it. I'm so excited to now be a fan of the series and the studio now. I understand it now. So I'm very much looking forward to if they do Lord of the Rings. That would be like a dream come true for me. So I'm very stoked about that. But yeah, I was surprised how much I really cared about these characters, especially for not playing the first game and missing a lot of that past context, but how well they were written, how good the world was, and the quest design was really fantastic. I still think it needs a little work in the combat department, just a little more. Yeah. But from what I understand, it's greatly improved from 1, so I'm sure they'll just improve it further on from there. And yeah, I recommend this to pretty much everyone if you like RPGs. It's definitely a monumental game that hopefully will get the credit it deserves, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Nominations at minimum.
Yeah. At least. Yeah.
I mean, thankfully, Astrobot didn't come out this year, so it won't steal all the awards from it.
Slander.
Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to steal them all.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to steal best narrative, best music, best voice acting.
Yeah. They got to get something, man. They got to get something. In case
they better.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for hanging out, listening, watching, whatever you're doing. We appreciate it. Thank you for the wait as well. We know it's been a long time coming, but we had to get everybody involved. We just had to do it. So thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Please check us out on patreon.com/laststamemedia, which you probably already are if you're listening to this or watching it. We appreciate your support. We'll see you next time, guys. All right. Take care.
Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.